This episode of On the Line is presented to you by Living.fit, your one stop for all your fitness needs. Make sure you go download the app Living.fit today. Now here's the show. Welcome to On the Line. Today is Tuesday, June 28th. We got a very fun show today. We got Billy the Squid Quarantillo on the show. Last time we'll have him on until sometime in the winter, since he's going to take a break after his fight at UFC Long Island. Tough news came out today, which we'll get into later. But anyway, after we wrap up with Billy, got our bonuses for UFC this past weekend, and even Bellator and PFL added together. And then on top of that, we got our winners and losers for the week. But before we move on into Billy, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. If you're listening on Apple, Spotify, Deezer, Stitcher, or any podcasting platform, hit that follow. Maybe leave a review if you're a cool kid. But without further ado, let's go on into Billy Q. All right, we are joined by who I can officially declare a friend of the program, Billy Quarantillo. Billy, what's the life been as a coach? 3-0 last night? No big deal.
Oh yeah. It was a wild night. If for the people who don't know, Tommy, by the way, thank you for having me. I always enjoy chatting it up with you. For those who don't know, I've been running the amateur team at Gracie Tampa South for the past 4 years now, almost 5 years actually. So I've cornered probably at least 200 fights. I'm getting to that 200 fight level because some of these fights we have 3 fights, 5 fights, 6 fights, whatever. And yeah, last night I saw, if you look at my Instagram, probably the cleanest knockout I've ever seen in an amateur fight. My boy Chase, who he's been wanting to fight for a long time. He's one of those guys that's pretty inconsistent, or at least he has been. So I wasn't sure about it. Wasn't sure. Was possibly getting ready soon. Then Jamahal Hill came to town about a month ago now. He trained with him, moved around with him. He was like, yo, this kid's, he's got what it takes. I think we should give him, let him get in there. I finally gave him a fight, and he had one of the cleanest knockouts that I've ever seen. And it was 2 guys making their debut. Some people are like, oh man, why was his hands down? Well, they're both beginners, but man, to have that type of clean knockout in your first fight is insane. And so he'll always have that. It's already got 100,000 views across social media right now. So super impressive knockout. And I love just going to fights and coaching these guys and watching guys take their careers to the next level.
Yeah, I was gonna say it was a slick knockout. I mean, you gotta have a pretty big confidence if Jamahal Hill's like, dude, you gotta get in there and fight like you're gonna kick ass. That's high praise. Jamal's the man.
Oh yeah, they're both around, about the same size. Jamal's a little bit bigger, but they were mixing up good sparring. Obviously, Jamahal was playing with his food a little bit, but he saw talent in him, which talent that I've seen too. And again, he still has a lot to work on. But it's a good way to start off your career with a big knockout like that, and on to the next one from here.
Yeah. So what was it like having Jamal stay at your place? I feel like that's got to be a fun guy to have stay at your place.
Oh yeah, dude, he's just a great dude. Anytime I can spend time with fighters of that caliber, where he's top 10 in the world, he's fighting on main events already. We got in the UFC the same exact day, so to be where we're both at now, where we're both UFC veterans now. He's fighting in big main events. I'm fighting at Madison Square Garden and Long Island with fans. It's a really exciting time for both of us and a lot of other of my friends in the industry.
Oh yeah. Goat Week alum. Let's not forget about the Goat Week. Yeah. How do you feel for two? Before we get too into Bill Algeo real quick, I did want to say this. He is he's a trash talker a little bit in the octagon, not like a Tony Kelly kind of trash talk, but he's a little bit of a trash talker. So having Jamahal Hill around probably helped out a little bit, because I know you guys sparred a little bit. So having him talk shit probably got you ready for that.
Yeah, we got to mix it up a little bit, and he wasn't trying to knock my head off, but we were mixing up a little bit and just having fun. Interesting fact, he didn't spar with a mouthpiece. He says he rarely spars with a mouthpiece, which is crazy to me, but whatever he's doing definitely works. And yeah, I don't mind. I like the trash talk. I don't mind people talking to me. It's worked for certain people, but I don't mind getting into it. I don't mind hearing it. I'm a veteran, so it is what it is.
You're not really a shit talker in the octagon. You're more of just you're gonna let the fight speak for itself.
Yeah, no, I don't like doing too much talking. I've gotten little, instances where I'm talking to a corner or, saying something back and forth to a fighter. But I try to stay focused, and just me personally, I feel like sometimes when you're you're trying to get your opponent to do something, sometimes I just like to stay focused and really not give anything away.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of said it a minute ago. Tony Kelly was trying way too hard to get Adrian Yanez to get too emotional. Didn't really work out too hot. Didn't work out too hot.
No, yeah, poor Tony
No,
Kelly, man. That
yeah.
he's had a tough month.
Yeah, he's had a real tough one, especially with Adrian. Like last night or whatever, saying the UFC staff was like, "Yeah, knock him out, please." That's a tough look. That's a real
Oh,
tough look.
jeez, yeah,
Yeah, that's tough. That's tough.
yeah.
But anyway, speaking of like fan favorite fighters and things like that, last time we had you on, I think again we love the Tapology rankings. You were at like 58. That's moved up from 70, but now you're down to 92. Would you like to give a public statement on the fact that you have dropped now to 92?
Uh, yeah, you're talking about fan favorites, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm still right, in the Tapology ranks. I think I'm still top 30 in the world with actual fighters, which is good. I don't know who decides those rankings, but I did think it was cool that I was on there originally. I was in like the 70s or 60s or whatever. I think I got pretty low at one point. This is what I do it for. I do it for the fans. I do it to entertain people. So if I can be a fan favorite, that's a job that I look forward to doing, and it's one of the many benefits of being in the UFC and having this platform.
Well, I was gonna say, I think the reason you might have dropped a little bit is because you said the Drake album was good. I think you can. I think you should revoke. I think you should take that back. There's a good
Yeah,
song. There's like two. There's like one really good song, and then one like it's all right.
yeah.
But
I've listened to a few of them. I've listened to a few songs. A couple of songs have grown on me. And if you really think about it, how old are you, Tommy?
what?
How old are you? So like where I grew up, I'm 33 now. When albums used to come out, there would always be like some albums be like, wow, like some Jay-Z albums, you're like, man, every song is a banger, banger.
Yeah.
I feel like nowadays, because we listen to singles now, like we listen to individual songs, most people, it's very hard to have an album, a full album with all bangers. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
because we're so used to like, oh, this one song here, this one song here. It's not like back in the day where it's like they need to put like this big, you don't need to listen to a full album anymore because most people aren't buying the full album. Like I listen to the full album, but like I can't name any, I don't really do that with anyone anymore where I go back and I'm like, I'm going to listen to this entire album. Besides, songs maybe like the early 2000s. But yeah, there are some songs that I like, and definitely some songs I'm sure I'll see this summer at, pool parties, clubs, and that kind of stuff, getting the people going.
See, I'm 26, so like I'm like right on that edge of like right before streaming really took over and things like that. So it's like I remember getting like the Red Hot Chili Peppers like albums. I remember getting like Fall Out Boy. That puts me like I was in that little era of like the punk rock, all that kind of stuff. I remember getting all those albums, listening to them like front to back. Now it's kind of rare I'll do that. I'll do that with like I did that with the Kendrick album. I really like the Kendrick album, but it is what it is. What you got there? What was the Starbucks order?
Oh, the Starbucks, just a cold brew with a little bit of the foam. Yeah, I love Dunkin' Donuts.
Oh, that's Dunkin', not Starbucks. Okay, sorry. That disrespected. That was disrespectful then.
Yeah, I'm more, me, man. I'm blue collar. I'm more of a Dunkin' guy. So I did my early morning workout. And I'm just getting ready to get my post workout after this interview. So I'm getting all amped up. Gonna get a nice lift in. Ooh. Already did the Airdyne bike conditioning. Did my cold plunge. Yeah, feeling good, man. Training camp's been going great so far, and ready to get in there and get it going.
I did some deadlifts earlier. Come just scrape the shit out of my shin earlier. So hopefully that doesn't happen to you. It was brutal. Dude, that's the worst. It's the worst when you scrape the shit out of yourself when you do the deadlifts a little too heavy, a little too hard. There's a stings like a motherfucker. And before we move on to like this fight itself and everything like that, obviously everything's going well, it sounds, and everything's going great. Is you warmed up in the Knicks locker room? Like, did you have the whole locker room to yourself, or was it like spaced out for other fighters?
Oh, so it's an even better part of the story. It was more so we go in there and they tell us like, oh man, you guys have the good locker room. And so we go in there and I'm like, oh my god, this is the Knicks locker room. Like how cool is this? And then like we started getting everyone else who was in there. So L.A. Quinto was in there. He was with like Ray Longo, Aljamain Sterling, all the New York guys that like we're boys with. Matt Serra was there with him, so and Chris Weidman. So there was already 3 world champions right there, including like with all those guys. Then Alex Pereira was there with Glover Teixeira. They're getting warmed up, and the crazy thing was those guys were there. There was a couple other guys, but we were actually fighting later than all of them. So it got to the point where like because I was on the main card, I was after Gage and Chandler. So we're all hanging out there together, shooting the shit. Everyone's going out there fighting, doing whatever. And by the time I'm warming up for my fight, it was just me and my guys. It was just me and my coaches, whole locker room. The crowd's going nuts. Like the Gagey Chandler fight goes off. We start hearing everyone out there. So it was just such a crazy experience. We were literally with just all kinds of like the who's who of MMA, world champions everywhere. And we could hear the crowd for the Chandler Gagey fight. It was something I'll never forget.
Yeah, I mean, that locker room, I mean, just like, and you think of like the facilities like the NBA has and things like that locker room just had to be nuts. Like in terms of like the lockers themselves, like what they have the amenities around, or they like kind of strip it a little bit for you guys.
It was, it was. I mean, they had all the players. I don't really watch basketball that often, but they had all the Knicks players, all their names there. Like we were basically in, certain players. I remember my brother took a couple pictures and sent it back to my nephew because he loves watching basketball. He's like 13, 14 years old. He loves watching basketball, so he thought it was awesome. I thought it was cool just because, man, if you've seen all like the shitty places that I've fought in and warmed up in, and places where there isn't even anywhere to warm up, or like you're warming up on concrete or the hardwood floor, to be in the UFC and to be at MSG, it was definitely hard work pays off, right in front of your eyes.
And then you could go back to New York, get the Avenge the loss, not at Madison Square Garden, but we're at, is it the USB? Is that what it's called? The USB Arena where the Islanders play?
Yes, I believe it. I know it's 3 letters. I think it's was it UBS or USD?
We got the 3 letters. We got the 3 letters.
We know it's 3 letters, and it is exactly what you said, Tommy. It's a revenge fight for me. I'm going back to New York. I started my career. I had my first 2 amateur fights in New York. Then I came back and I won 3 pro fights in my hometown of Western New York. Then obviously I got the MSG fight. I took a close loss to Burgos. Crazy, exciting fight. A lot of people really enjoyed it. And now I get to go get my redemption and, still be on that big stage. Hopefully we're on the prelims right now. I'm hoping they bump that up to the main card. It was on the main card and they keep switching it. But either way, prelims, main card after it, I think a lot of people are going to be impressed with what happens with Billy Q out there.
Oh yeah, in the Battle of the Bills, which I mean, I was going to bring it up before you brought it up. Is like you're currently the featured prelim, which I mean, it is nothing to bat an eye about. I mean, that you're just like usually that would be like the last free fight, but this is going to be on ABC. But at the same time, though, you're more than likely based on how like the UFC usually goes. One of those fights probably I don't want to jinx it for anybody, but there's probably going to be a fight that pulls out and you might get bumped up. Yeah. More than likely, you are the first fight to get bumped up, so that's at least you got that going for it, and you're the featured prelim, which is also again nothing to bat an eye against.
Yeah, it's all good, man. They pay me the same either way. Until I get up there and start getting those pay-per-view points, it's all good. It's early in the day. I wish it, like I said, I wish it was a little later in the main card. But I've been getting up early. I always train early in the morning anyway, so it's no big deal. Get in, get out, and enjoy the next few days in Long Island, and basically take a couple days off.
That's what I was about to ask. You have to start like what? Your fight times are like 1:30, 1:45, something like that.
Yeah, the prelim started at 11 a.m. The main card's at 3, so it's going to be an early night. So, and especially our hotel's probably 30, 45 minutes away. So we got to probably wake up pretty early and head on over there.
That's pretty brutal. Are you going to be like when you get to Long Island, are you going to go back to Longo Weidman MMA? Is that where you're going to do all your stuff for the rest of the camp?
I'm going to train with my last week, basically all of fight week. I'm sure I'll go there a few times. I'm going and I'm going to stay with Frevola, one of my longtime teammates, for a couple of days there, and then we'll both go over to the Fighter Hotel and hang out there for fight week, going back and forth from there to Law MMA, and I'll be getting working with those guys. I got some really good work in there last week, and yeah, we'll close out camp there and do our best to represent Long Island.
I was gonna say, is Frevola going to be in your corner, or is he just going to be in the crowd?
No, he'll be in my corner. He always noses his way in, and we've been teammates together since 2010. We've been good friends. He was in my wedding, I was in his wedding. So it's always either him or my brother Jim, who helps me cut weight, does a really good job. He's going to do that too. And then my 2 main coaches, Matt Arroyo and Dan Rawlings. Those are always 3 of the 4 guys. And this time we're rocking with Frevola. Jim was in my corner in MSG. And he'll be at the fight. He's got a nice box seat, so it all worked out for our team.
Yeah. And also, it sounds like he's off the corner also because he got the loss, so you had to replace him. Was Frevola at Madison Square Garden? Was he in the corner?
No, he wasn't. He had to
All
go
right,
to
yeah.
his cousin's wedding. So they've both had a couple of UFC wins, and I think they each have one loss. So it's all good either way.
How was it? Speaking of the Frivolas, how was the cheese rollers wedding?
Oh, it was good. It was good. You got to talk to him about the after party. It got a little crazy with people getting kicked out and getting in scrums and stuff like that. But that's for a different time, different storytelling event. But yeah, it was a good wedding. I always have a good time with the Frivolas. They're like family to me. And yeah, we had a great time, and it was a lovely celebration. So yeah, that was good.
I'll have to ask Matt next time I have him on about it. I'll ask him about it. So let's talk about this fight, man. Obviously, like I don't want to say casual because that's kind of the mean term, but the unaware, they may not realize, they might think, oh, going from Shane Burgos to Bill Algier, like, oh, what a step down for Billy Q. But really, Bill's a tough dude. He's a tough matchup, and I mean, like, what was the first thing that crossed your mind when they came with you with the same? We're like, oh yeah, hell yeah, let's do it. Like, this is gonna be a fun fight.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking. I think it's a great fight. And I also thought the same thing. I'm like, Shane's a really tough dude, but so is Bill. Everyone in the UFC is really good. Bill's gotten a couple of wins. He's 2-2 in the UFC, and even those two losses were super close. And the wins, he looked really good and beat quality guys. If you remember, he beat Spike Carlisle right after I did. So when I fought Spike, I think he was on like a 5 or 6 fight winning streak. I beat him, and then Bill beat him, and then he got cut from the UFC. And since then, I think he just finished someone again. So I think he's finished the last 5 guys he fought. So me and Bill both beat him. So he's really good. And there's a lot of other guys that he's fought that he's looked well against. So I think it would be a mistake on my part to take him lightly or take him any lighter than I took the Shane Burgos fight. I'm taking him as seriously as I can. I don't think it's a step down at all. I think it's a banger of a featherweight fight. And I think by the end of it, they're going to be talking about the main card. And then if we're on the prelims, they're going to be talking about that fight too.
You gotta do what Gaethje and Chandler did to you. You gotta make your fight so fucking crazy, even though
Yeah.
you probably want a performance bonus. You gotta make it so crazy that it's just like, how can you like live up to that? How can you top what you two are about to do? Like you gotta repay the favor.
Yeah, I'm definitely willing to do that too. I'm willing to do whatever it takes for 15 minutes to put on a show and get my hand raised.
Do you kind of like it though when people like? Obviously, I know you like being a fan. You like being the fan favorite fighter, things like that. I'm always curious though. Do you embrace like people are like, all right, it's gonna be a fight of the night, or is there a party like, dude, just can we say a performance bonus? Like I want to go out there and get in and out in like 2 minutes.
Yeah, I don't mind because I've been in some pretty violent fights that have gone the distance, and I don't usually when I talk about that, I'll say I want a bonus, I want a performance bonus. If I ask for fight of the night though, because even the Benavidez fight or the what's his name? I always forget.
Gabe, is it not the Benitez, another one?
Yeah, Gabriel Benitez. Yeah, the
Yeah.
Benitez fight. I felt like I could have got a performance bonus, but they gave us fight of the night anyway, even though going into the third round, I knew I was up 2-0, and I felt like I was in control of that fight. So either way, to me, if we get fight of the night and I win, or if I get a performance bonus and win, that's really what matters. I know it's going to be an exciting fight. As long as I get my hand raised, that's the most important part.
So usually I save this for last, but like I have a different last question for you. But and then at the way you see this thing playing out and all that other kind of stuff, how do you see at the end of the day? You're not going to say lose. You're not going to say, well, you might say decision, but like how do you see the fight playing out? Do you see a late finish? See a middle finish? Like how do you see it playing
Um, that's a good question. So I know I'm capable of finishing him, and that's what I'm going to do. And that's what I'm going into the fight to do. He's only had decisions in the UFC, so I'm going to basically make us go out there and get after it. We both have really good cardio, and I think I'm going to be the first one to be able to stop him. He's never been knocked out before, and he hasn't been submitted in years. So he's a very smart fighter because he avoids dangerous situations. And it's going to be my job to present those dangerous situations and capitalize on them.
bringing the danger to him. You can't avoid the danger if you're just constantly bringing the danger to him. That's
Exactly.
how. That's
The
what,
danger zone.
yes, you're like Walter White. I am the danger. That's exactly. So, another cool thing I noticed recently, we've talked about this before. Like, obviously, you guys said just you coach the amateur fights, but you also like call fights. I'm spacing the organization, but you called a fight for this one-legged fighter. What was that whole thing? What was that whole experience like?
That's yeah. I love I love the sport of MMA and doing stuff like that, doing the commentary, doing the coaching, promoting, doing whatever keeps me out of the bars, keeps me focused. And I like doing it anyway, just to get paid to watch fights. So yeah, that one-legged fighter. I wish I had his name. I completely forgot his name, but I remember when he walked out, he had a Team Alpha Male shirt on, and I remembered years ago, I think 2016, I was actually at Team Alpha Male. I was at Uriah Faber's gym, and I remember seeing him there, and people like kind of like grappling with him, kind of like dabbing it up with him, saying what's up. I didn't remember like him training or not. And then I watched the fight, and it was kind of like what you'd think. A lot of grappling, obviously. Like he was in positions where he probably could have finished the fight if he had another leg. Unfortunately, like he had the guy's back, but he only had one hook, and then he almost had like a triangle, like a modified triangle. And then I was thinking about him, like there's only a few different ways he can win, like a rear naked choke, a guillotine. He's probably not going to win too many decisions. So it was a really competitive fight. And then someone messaged me, and I guess he fought Brandon Moreno years ago, and it was another really good fight. And some people said that they thought he won that fight. So I haven't seen the fight yet. And obviously Brandon Moreno, world champion, caliber type fighter. But yeah, that kid is very good wrestler, and it was a very interesting fight. And I was inspired watching it, just to see a guy with one leg fight his ass off for three 5-minute rounds in a professional fight, and he held his own. He took the guy down a couple times, took the guy's back. It was an exciting fight and very inspiring to watch.
So, like, I don't want to take away anything from the guy. Like, this is just kind of a weird question. You know how sometimes, like, you just say you're not a basketball guy, but like when I grew up in Indiana, so like I play basketball all the time. Like, you go up against a girl, and it'd be like one of those situations like I don't want to like show her up, but I also don't want to be the guy that gets beaten by the girl. Do you think like in a situation like that when you're fighting a guy with one leg, obviously you're both going to a cage to beat the shit out of each other. But
Yeah.
I think there's a mental threat guys like I can't beat this guy. Like I don't want to be like a dick,
Yeah.
Like
Yeah, no, I know exactly what you're saying. They luckily it was mostly grappling. And it was a close fight. So like that guy really didn't have a choice but to try to beat him. I do know exactly what you're saying. And I remember the Nick Newell fight, and he used to beat everyone. He would go there and choke them, and it was like, oh man, this guy, it was so inspiring. And I'm a big fan of Nick Newell as well. But then when he fought Justin Gagey, you're like, oh man, like it's almost like not fair. He doesn't have an arm. Justin Gagey, didn't let him take him down, beat him up really good on the feet. But yeah, still inspiring to see, like, if that guy, if you can do that without an arm or without a leg, full body people, with all their limbs, like what excuse do you got, So it's very motivating to see, but I do agree. It is, as a competitor, it's kind of a lose-lose situation.
I mean, yeah, like, and that's what I was trying to say. Like, it is a super inspiring. It's just like if I were in that position, it's just like you're in that weird little awkward stage where I don't know. That's just it is super cool that he went out there. They're like, I don't have the balls to go into a cage and fight in front of people. Like, I'll be honest, I'll be blunt about it. That's just not the way I work. I mean, will I do it with my friends? Yeah, I'll fuck around and throw some hands with my friends. But to get in front of other people, I could never do that. So like seeing people like that do it, dude, you're right. It is very, very inspiring. Yep. So yeah. So one other thing too is I know you used to play hockey. Just real quick question, because I didn't get to this last time. Is were you an enforcer in hockey, or were you actually like going out there to play?
Oh yeah. I was an enforcer for sure. I just love. So I played hockey all growing up, like the midgets, mites, all like the little league stuff. And then when we started doing, like, I think the 1 year was like you were allowed to do slap shots and you're allowed to hit each other like the same time. So it was just totally different game. And that's when I like really fell in love with it, just hitting people. Like people would be skating with their head down, they would touch the puck, and I would just light them up with hits. Unfortunately, this was before like social media and not everyone had a video camera, but man, I used to have some crazy good hits. I remember putting people down. Definitely an enforcer. Then we would do like locker room boxing and just being around all like the hockey players. I used to love it, man, but I haven't played in years. People still give, the people I grew up with give me a hard time, but even like the bar leagues and stuff, there's so many different ways you can get injured. And I just, I got enough on my plate doing boxing, kickboxing, jiu-jitsu, wrestling, conditioning, weightlifting, recovery sessions, all that stuff. So I'll get back into it a little bit probably when I'm retired, but right now I gotta just watch from the sidelines.
It's not worth it. I just remember I used to work for a hockey team, like a little local hockey team, like a D. If you consider like in baseball terms, I think it's like ECHL, so it's like the double A, triple A, or whatever.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah. So like I remember we were at after practice doing some stupid shit for like in game like games or whatever, and I was watching as these guys were like teaching each other how to fight. Like they were teaching each other like, all right, so you get a position, you pull the jersey over, couple uppercuts, things like that. I just remember watching. I'm like, damn, that's actually you do have to learn how to fight in case you get in that position in hockey. Because I
Yeah.
mean,
Oh
at any
yeah.
point, you just don't know. You don't know when you're in
Yeah,
those.
we would just wing it when we would fight. So
Well, yep. So another thing too, real quick before I have only like a couple questions left. Is this blows my mind because when I do my research, I like to listen to other interviews, get a feel, find the stuff, little trinkets. How have you never been on the MMA Hour with Ariel Helwani? That blows my mind. For being a popular fighter on like not just on Twitter but in general, and being the fan friendly fighter, it blows my
yeah.
mind. You've never been on there with Ariel. Like
Yeah,
that's shocking.
that's so interesting. I was actually just thinking about that earlier today because I've met him before. I met Ariel before, and I've always followed him. I followed him for years, and I don't remember if I don't know if if I ever trolled him or if someone in my family, if anyone ever trolled him. But yeah, you're right. I don't know. It is kind of weird. I don't know if I should reach out to him, but I'm a fan of Ariel. I've never had anything against him. So I hope he likes me. But
You're also
yeah,
a Bills fan. Like there's so
yeah.
much.
No, I know. I don't know if he's got something against me. Like I said, I don't know. I don't know if I ever said anything to him that was offensive or he just doesn't like me. Either way, I'm open to the invite, but I've never gotten it. So he's cool with me. I don't think there's any bad blood. Maybe he just doesn't find me interesting, or I don't know. But yeah, it's cool that he's a Bills fan. The more Bills fans, the better. That's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, it blows my mind. It's just that and again, it's just because I usually he's pretty good about getting people on that are pretty in with the community and things like that. So just a
Yeah.
little interesting. Maybe we'll have to post this on Twitter and be like, hey, dude, what the
Yeah,
fuck?
get the clip going. We'll find out.
Yeah, we'll put some clickbait in there. We'll put some I'll clickbait it, but in a good way, in a nice way.
Okay.
Um,
I dig it. I'm down with it. I'll repost it.
We'll do it. We'll get you on there before Long Island. That's what we'll do because he's off this week. We'll get you in like 2 weeks. All right. So I was gonna ask about the Bills last, so I'll do a little switch up. Bills. We're probably not gonna talk to you because you're gonna take a little bit of a break after this fight, right? For Mini Billy.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
So.
maybe coming in September. So
So you're gonna take a little bit of a break. So we probably won't see you again until what, like mid to late winter. So about that time will be the Bills' playoff push. What are your expectations? Is it Super Bowl or bust finally this year?
yeah, man. I mean, it's and I don't want to be like, oh man, we gotta win it this year because we've never won a Super Bowl before. But yeah, this team, I mean, the last 2 years, I think we had a good chance, and I think this year we have a really good chance. So yeah, Josh Allen's the man. I can't say enough good things about him being a leader. Coach Sean McDermott, I think he's done a great job too. But yeah, it's definitely if it doesn't happen this year, it'll definitely start getting to the point of all right, man, how good is this team really? But the last 2 years, they've gone to the AFC Championship game, so they've done enough, but they just got to take that next step to get us there. I don't know what it takes, but I'm hoping for the best, and obviously I'll be rooting for them, and hopefully I'll be able to sneak away and go to a game or two with the little one. But we'll definitely be watching every game.
So maybe if you're lucky, be able to introduce him into Bills Mafia properly.
Dude,
Yeah.
he'll definitely be a Bills fan. I know. So my wife Bree, her family, they're all New England fans and big Tom Brady fans, obviously. But he's gonna be a Bills fan. He already is a Bills fan.
He's a Bills fan.
Yeah.
So and to be fair, when last year it was the 7 seconds Patrick Mahomes just went fuck it mode, and there's only so much you can do against Patrick Mahomes. That was just the shittiest. He's just
not a great way to end it, but
no, it's tough. It's tough. It is what it is. They'll bounce back. I think the Bills are going to win it this year. So, one last thing, I wanted to end with something nice, but this is might be negative, might not be. But why aren't you at International Fight Week next week?
well, that's very similar to the Ariel question. I don't know. I didn't get invited, but it's also I don't even know if I would have been able to go just because of the timing of it. I fight in little over 2 weeks from now, or three weeks. Yeah, a little over 2 weeks. No, 3 weeks today I fight. So it would kind of be a pain in the ass to fly out there and fly back. Would I have done it if UFC asked me? Of course, but these are all motivating things. There's other things I can be doing, more social media, more connecting with people, and just building up my brand. And I think a big step in that direction will be at this next fight. Go out there and finish Bill and call a big name and get on some big cards and do some big things.
Goddamn right. Big money, big checks. That was like, I kind of figured they probably didn't ask you, probably because you have a fight coming up. They're like, we just don't want to fuck with
I
his
like to
camp or
think
whatever.
so.
What?
I said I like to think so.
I,
That's
I,
why.
I like to think so. Yeah, I mean they would have had you. Is there another Bill you can call out if you beat Bill Algeo? I've been trying to think of like I'm the best Bill in the UFC, but I don't know who else you can
I don't
call
know
out.
if there's any other ones. Yeah, I'm not too sure. I gotta look into it. I don't know.
I don't know. There's something you can yell. It's like I'm the best Bill in the UFC. Boom. I don't know. People love it when you yell I'm the best blank in the
Yeah,
UFC, and people love that shit. Eat it up.
I dig it. You're right, man.
Yeah. All right, man. That's all I got for you. If you want to shout anyone out, shout them on out.
No, man. Just my sponsors. I appreciate you guys. Just follow me, Billy Q MMA, and I'll see you guys in 3 weeks from today.
Goddamn right. All right, for Billy Q. Appreciate you.
All right, brother.
Okay, Billy, my man. Let's get him on Hawani. Tough news, as we talked about with him, or I did. Harry wasn't there, unfortunately. We were going to get him on the main card. Usually you need like at least 1 or 2 fight cancellations. Kind of tough shit. Misha Tate, Lauren Murphy got moved to UFC Long Island. So that's actually might bump Billy down from the feature prelim. Prayers that he gets to stay on the feature prelim. So tough scenes. Major tough scenes. So real quick, go on into our UFC bonuses for the week. We have a first time ever here, Harrison. First time ever on the show. We have a double winner. Same person wins both. I know I'm getting crazy here. So we'll start with the performance bonus. Performance bonuses for a third straight week in a row goes to the judges. Oh man, their hands are all over everything.
Let's go.
God damn, it's getting frustrating. So like last weekend you had or a couple weeks you had Clay Collar get robbed. This past weekend, Martar Saryukian got robbed versus Martuska Marat. I mean, like you can go back and watch that fight. Like I sort of see it, but at the same time though, he won 3 rounds. That's bullshit. You had fucking there's and then you had the very opening fight last night. But just in general, the judges have decided now 2 straight main events that were pretty obvious the other way. Which is like, if you're like a better, yeah, it sucks you lose your money. But you got to think about guys like Calvin Kattar luckily got his like win bonus, but Arman Saryukian didn't. Luckily, he's very well off with a bunch of sponsorships. But the judges fucking up doesn't just fuck up like these guys' like path to the title, it fucks up their bank accounts. It's pretty fucked up, dude, and it's kind of getting out of hand, which also gets to the fight of the night. Goes to the judges and like judges truthers against MMA media and MMA like fans in general, because they were going at it on Twitter again. It's just getting brutal. It's becoming a bloodbath out there.
Jeez.
Yeah, it's tough. It's real tough. Well, hopefully the judges can get their shit figured out for this weekend, which actually it will be kind of funny if Max Volk 3 is another very controversial decision. Like it'd be kind of funny if obviously Volkanovski wins and then Holloway wins. It's like a reverse of the last one. I don't know. I rewatched that today. Still don't know how Holloway lost, but it is what it is. I'm excited for that split decision. Maybe like Israel, Jared Cannonier gets crazy and we get a crazy controversial decision. But regardless, that's kind of what we're on pace for at the moment. So let's move on into our winners and losers for this past week. Harrison, why don't you kick us off with your first winner?
Yeah, I'm going to start off with Arturi Lekkinen because he's just, I mean, the Stanley Cup closed out last night, but he's been having himself a hell of a playoffs up until that point because he scored the series-winning goal in the Western Conference Finals against the Oilers, and then last night scored the Stanley Cup winning goal against Tampa Bay. So Arturi, after losing the Cup last year with the Canadiens, bounced back in the biggest way possible. And yeah, just give him the fucking W for this week because scoring the Stanley Cup winning goal, that's the dream of every hockey playing kid from when they're like 3 years old and going on to the pros. So, Lekkinen, fuck yeah, bud.
Shut up. My winner goes to the new media. I like to associate us as new media. Even though we do ask old media questions, we don't clickbait, don't do dumb shit like that. We don't we don't do that kind of stuff. But anyway, new media. There's been everyone wants Kevin Durant on their podcast. Like Draymond Green's going at it against the old heads. like all these guys, it's mainly in basketball. But like the old media and the new media are going head to head. They're like, Kevin Durant, come on my podcast. He's like, I got my own podcast. # new media. It's just like they're going at it. They're going like they're butting heads. To be honest, like I don't think I've ever listened to a player's podcast. I don't think the only time I've ever been incentivized to listen to one was when Draymond Green during the finals. I still didn't. So I think there is a thing to be said about their version of the new media against other new media. Which is also kind of funny because he was going out like Barstool and Big Cat and calling them old media, even though they're new media. I don't know. Is there like a newer media compared to new media and the old media? I don't know.
Maybe old media is like, standard CNN, all that fun stuff, or like ESPN. And then we got like new media, and then new media is like Barstool, and then newer media is KD and Draymond and
I don't know.
All that fun stuff.
I don't know. The lines, they're blurring together. I don't know what new media is anymore. I don't know. It's crazy. I don't know. Maybe it's like player media, new media. That's the way you separate it.
That might be an interesting
real media versus new media, because the players are the real media. So they know how to do their job better than everyone else.
The locker room.
They know how to do their job better than anyone else in the media. They know how much it takes to get a podcast out. They know how fucking hard it is to put the audio together and video together, get it all out at the same time, to come out at the same exact time and date every single week. It's because it's the easiest thing in the world, because that's how the player media works. I'm going to just snake draft it. I'm going to go into my loser. My loser goes to 24-year-olds. For all my vapors out there, I was never a vapor, never did any of that kind of shit. I was old school, maybe that's why I'm old school media too. Jewels
only
were
ripping cigs.
Yeah. Oh, fuck sakes. Shout out to 24-year-olds, because not only were Jules banned this past weekend, Cumtown seems to be on the downfall. As someone who's never listened to Cumtown, I've never been a Cumtown boy. I've never been a cummy. I don't know what they call themselves. This sounds like they're going away. Stolko, the Greek dude, said he's leaving Cumtown. Apparently, I don't know. I did a little research to make sure I was accurate in this. Everyone's like, "Oh, Cumtown's ending." Where am I going to get my Cumtown action? They pretty much all of them say like this isn't going to be the same because someone's going to like do some stupid ass, borderline racially inaccurate accent, motivated. Not charge. I don't know what the right word was because it's all in comedic gestures. He's just going to be doing that accent, and then the Greek dude, I don't know how to say his last name. Everyone knows he just had a stand-up special come out. Really funny. Aurelius. I don't know how to say his last name, but he would just laugh so hard and made it seem funnier than like sometimes like when someone's really not that funny and everyone laughs
and you just laughed.
Yeah, you just laugh. Apparently that's what the Greek dude was bringing in this Cumtown. So Cumtown is on the downfall, which is sad. Just because I've heard some of those guys' stuff. I think they're funny. I've never listened to their podcast, but I think all those guys on there are funny. Shout out 24-year-olds. I'm not a 24-year-old. Even though I'm technically in their demographic, it's been a real tough week for them. Very tough week for them. So, Harrison, you're a loser.
My loser is Corey Perry, because last night he became the first player in NHL history to ever lose the Stanley Cup 3 years in a row with 3 different teams. And that's just unreal.
That's special. That's a special level of losing
really
that hasn't been seen since the Buffalo Bills.
Yeah, no, it hasn't. And Corey Perry can just thank his lucky stars that he already has a Stanley Cup ring under his belt with the Anaheim Ducks back in 2007. Because if I was a player who had gone this long in my career without winning a cup, and then I lost the last 3 in a row with all 3 different teams, I think I'll just hang up my skates on the spot. Never.
Well, think about it like you're Corey Perry, though. If you're like you're 300 years in a row being the Stanley Cup, it seems like you're doing one thing right to get to the Stanley Cup. Do you go to Toronto and be like, hey, I made it to every Stanley Cup. I'll get you to the Stanley Cup. We're going to lose, but I'm going to get you back to the Stanley Cup. Is that like, I think that legacy-wise, that could help his case.
I think they do that. I think Corey Perry should do that because that would definitely help his legacy.
If you're a Toronto fan and you know you're going to lose, but you're going to make it, do you sign up for it?
Yes.
Okay.
Because as a Flyers fan who's in horrible pain right now with us not being good, I would give my left leg to go to the Stanley Cup and lose. I don't care. I just want to see us be good again.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair as a Pacers fan. I can't relate to hockey. I just like watching hockey. A couple guys I really like. Can't really relate to that. I'm not a fan of a particular team, but for basketball, I can relate. I would give my testicles to see the Pacers and Tyrese Halliburton just fucking yam on people. Harrison, your last winner.
My last winner goes to someone I normally would not even put near the winner spot. But Stan Kroenke, because the man's won 3 rings in the last, 5-6 months? Because he won the Super Bowl with the Rams as the owner of the Rams. He won the Stanley Cup last night as the owner of the Colorado Avalanche. And he won the NLL, National Lacrosse League, title last weekend with the Colorado Mammoth. So the dude has just, gone 3 for 3, or in the
2 for
title
2.5.
2 for 2.5. Yeah, that's a better way to put it. Because the NLL, it's fun, but it's not,
That's like me,
it's,
going out there and sponsoring. We can go out there and sponsor the best little league team. I'm like, yeah, I count that as a win as an owner. Who the fuck cares?
let me get that trophy real quick with the most important owner. No, but
the most
Stan
important owner of a
Kroenke.
12-year-old team. Yeah, shout out Stan Kroenke.
Yeah,
If you're Arsenal, man, no pressure. You guys got to win.
no pressure at all.
No pressure at all for the Gunners. I'll go into my winner. We've talked about it a lot. Kenobi, the TV series.
So good.
If you're a Star Wars fan, if you just stop watching on the first 2 episodes because you're like, it kind of sucks. It was kind of slow paced. You missed out on a lot of action. I don't want to give away too much.
Mhm.
I was very satisfied with the last episode. I thought it was the best episode of the series.
The scene with Kenobi with his arms out.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about.
Don't want to give away too much, but that I thought was pretty over delivering. There's one storyline that was obvious they were trying to make it into a spinoff, and it didn't. I don't have to say it out loud if you watched it. You know what I'm talking about. I wish that person was dead. There's so many opportunities to kill that person. It would have been a lot better and a lot more realistic. But I guess it is Mickey Mouse. He has his little paws on everything. So other than that, Kenobi, great TV series. And I'll move on to my loser, friends of the program. It's been tough. It's been real tough. I handpick the people we have on the show because I think they're going to win. Oh yeah, all the time. Cody Law -800 lost, tough. Yagos subbed in the first round, that was tough. Spoom subbed in the first round, that was tougher. All of our boys are losing except Carl Solberg, even though he's not technically a friend. I don't think he's gonna come back on anymore, which sucks. He was the man. He was like, I want you to come in my fights. I don't know, whatever. He won. He got a first round KO, so I'll take that. So we don't have a full on losing week. But it was a tough scene this week for the friends of the program. So we were big losers this week. We were big losers.
Yeah.
Hopefully that ends this week for Brad Tavares, still a friend of the program. He was going to come on, but he's just so fucking busy. But kind of like when we had Brent Primus, another one who we were going to have on, who also got knocked out in the second round. So that was another tough scene. I'm like a broken record. Broken record is like our boys lose and everyone pushes back on us, which, by the way, as happened last week, fuck, you might just put us as a loser. We had an interview scheduled the day before Friday to get an interview in. He pushed it back, didn't reschedule it. Fuck that guy. Or not fuck him, but it's just the third time it's happened. So it's kind of frustrating. But regardless, then we had another interview Friday, which got pushed back to Saturday. Then we had one on Sunday. Now it was pushed back to Wednesday. So Shoutouts. It's literally everything just keeps fucking repeating itself.
Time is a flat circle. Time is a flat circle.
We're we're in the middle of a triangle. All right, we get consistent guests.
Yep.
No, we can't get anyone. I fucking ask everyone to come back on because I can't find anybody and no one will get on. And then we have way too many people and I don't know what to do with the interviews. That's just what's going to end up happening. I reached out to so many fucking people this week. I wasn't picky. I just reached out to literally everyone. That was the worst. That was just the other fucking bullshit thing. I'm just gonna go on a rant real quick. We had 2 interviews last Monday because it's we have 2 people I know for a fucking fact are gonna come on after, so we're set up for sure for Friday, and they both fucking postponed. So then I have to put on this interview I did a fucking year ago with this Boston comedian. I mean, he's a funny dude, but if you listen to any other fucking interview, it's the same thing fucking repeated. It was I could go listen to any other interview and he gave the fucking same responses as half the shit I said. Or if I asked him something, he gave the same story he gave before. It was nothing new. There was nothing crazy out there. Not like I have a Billy and all these other people, all these MMA dudes who are not fucking regurgitated bullshit. But it was just there's one interview I have. I will one day release it. Is with a basketball player. I have never felt more of someone laughing at me than with me, and I've been doing this for over a year now. And it's only happened once, so I know it's not me. I know it's this guy. I want to one day release it, but there was one moment I said something, and it was the most fake laugh. I was just what the fuck? Anyway. Something like that, and it was just something like that. But it was kind of forced.
Mhm.
I don't know. It was weird. I don't know. He was. I mean, he was high. I'll say that. But regardless, it was. That was a tough scene. That was the toughest scene I've had. Actually, no, we've had worse. No, we haven't had worse. We've had boring people, but we've never had someone where I'm like, oh,
Straight up fuck this guy.
straight up fuck. Yeah. I don't think we've had anyone say like be straight up like fuck that guy. Except for him. Which, all right. Anyway, Harrison, you're last loser.
My last loser is the NBA team that is blowing it all up right now, the Brooklyn Nets, and it's so funny to watch.
Speaking of fucking
Kyrie's
triangles,
yeah. The Kyrie's gone, KD's probably gone, and who are they going to be stuck with? Ben Simmons and Bruce Brown.
Yep.
That 1-2 combo is going to be disgusting next year. Watch them dominate the Eastern Conference and go all the way to the finals. No, I'm just kidding. But it is funny how 2 inches changed everything for the Nets with KD's foot on the line against Milwaukee 2 years ago.
Yeah, and then LeBron's going to win a title again next year with Kyrie. If he has Kyrie and Anthony Davis for an entire year, dude, they're
that's going to be scary.
Well, to be,
if
AD's healthy, but still, regardless, that's going to be filthy.
I mean, that's LeBron and Kyrie back again.
I will say this: if
right
Russ
there.
can accept a role on that team where he's not the point guard and he just plays defense, plays hustle, and things like that, holy fuck, they could be good. But I don't think he can do that. I don't think it's in his brain to do that. He's too much of an alpha. I don't know what you do in that instance. Maybe you trade him to Brooklyn and reunite him with Kevin Durant.
If Russ could just get himself that Sigma mindset instead of that alpha mindset.
I do. This is an honorary fight of the night since I do try to keep those consistent to MMA. The real fight of the night is Skip Bayless and Russell Westbrook. Skip woke up and just chose violence. I should have made him a winner. Like, goddamn, he's just like, brother. I'll say it to your face. Yeah, you're the worst. Hold up. Let me pull up these tweets.
Brother Skip was going off
Skip
last night.
Bayless woke up yesterday and chose, or 2 days ago technically, and chose violence. Let me find this. No, this is what's his latest tweet? I leap out of bed at 2 a.m. sharp as if my life depends on it because it basically does. Skip Bayless never snoozes his 2 a.m. alarm. Oh, I forgot. He wakes up at 2 a.m.
Incredible.
Where is it? No, did he delete it? Oh, no, here it is. Here it is. Hey, Russell Westbrook. Happy to talk face-to-face about the nickname I believe I originated in 2012. Join me on TV/podcast. Let's talk about how you'll make $47 million next year after being the worst three-point shooter in the NBA. Most overplayed player ever. Please join me. Amazing and amusing how Russell Westbrook is trying to turn himself into a victim after he was such a nightmare for Lakers Nation last year. All he has to do is shut up, shut down his critics, and tell him to make shots and quit committing sadly comical turnovers. But it's the critics' fault.
Brother Skip, man. Gotta love him. Love him.
The GOAT always has his fastball. Whenever you think he's on a downfall, him and Stephen A. get in their little debatical, whatever you want to call it, Skip comes out with fucking heat, and that's what Skip does. There's a reason he's the GOAT. He is my GOAT. When we go down in like the GOAT rankings of like, if you go from sport to sport, whether it be a hater, basketball player, football player, whatever, like if you're going on a GOAT list, I think Skip is like the GOAT of everything.
Yeah,
the competitive drive that Skip Bayless has, you put him in Tom Brady's body, he'd have 12 Super Bowls. Like if you had his hatred,
I think and put it in LeBron James. Year.
If you took the hatred that Skip Bayless has for LeBron James, you put that like hatred and turn that into like competitive drive and throw that on LeBron James. You know, I think LeBron needs more. Like he'd win more titles. Like just the hatred that Skip Bayless has for some of these players is just special on another level. He's like the hater of the year every year. Like, you know how they had the Balone
Player Hater Awards.
Yeah, the Player Hater Awards. Like Skip Bayless, which, by the way, that should be when we get to like mid-July and there's nothing going on. We should do like a hater award show, like for like best hater so-and-so or whatever. That'll be fun. Like best hater, like in MMA, best hater in every sport, the best haters. But yeah, it's we are literally witnessing greatness in Skip. Because here's the other thing too. There are hot take artists out there that don't really believe what they say. You got like Max Kellerman, Nick Wright, people like that. Skip Bayless like really believes everything he says. Like when he tweets this shit, he says this shit. Yeah. This is not an act. That's just Skip Bayless.
He would not attach his name to it if he did not 100% believe it. It's the best.
Skip is like legitimately a fucking mad. He's crazy. He's a psychopath. He wakes up at 2 a.m. every day to work out and to get his hater fuel ready to go.
That's so much better than the Jimmy Butler. I'm in the gym at 4 a.m. You think that's impressive? Skip is up at 2 a.m.
Just so
every
he can
morning,
hate.
watching
Just
film,
so he can
seething.
hate. Just ready to fucking spew the worst things out of his mouth. Oh, Skip.
Gotta love it.
All right, so speaking of shout-outs, also want to shout out Miles Turner. He beat the trade allegations for the 7th year in a row. I don't know what this man goes through, like, mentally. I've tried to get him on the show to tell him not all Pacers fans are idiots. He won't. Like every basketball player, he won't reply. Tough.
We still love Miles.
I still love Miles. He's still my favorite Pacer.
Yeah.
Behind now Benedict Mathurin, who said, and I quote, "I think I'm the best player in the league. I want to compete against LeBron because no one's better than me." That's my guy. That's my dog.
That's how you do it.
He's not just. He doesn't just have that dog in him. He is him. He is the one of ones. It is Benedict Mathurin. So shout out my boy Benedict. Harrison, any shout outs before we wrap this thing on up?
I mean, I really thought Nick Castellanos was going to hit a home run this weekend, but turns out not.
Roe versus Wade. We've break our attention that Roe versus Wade has been overturned, and that's a deep drive to left field by Nick Castellanos.
But yeah,
it's a match made in heaven. Because is he losing his fastball? Some people are asking. So also want to give a deep shout out. This is a fun fight week. The Wrong headliner, Max Volk. Both fights are free on YouTube, so go watch those. They're fun fights, very good fights. Izzy Cannonier. You got fucking Sean O'Malley back this week. A lot of big names. So it's gonna be a fun fight week. Gonna try to get someone on to help talk us through it, like we usually do for the big pay-per-views. So that's what we got for the show. We will have a fun guest on Friday. Don't know which one yet. We have like 2 people lined up. Can't wait to show another interview from like here. So we'll see you guys on Friday. Thanks for watching. Thanks for sticking around with me all the way to the end. I just want to once again thank the sponsor of the show, Living.Fit. If you're looking to better yourself, make sure you go to download the app or visit the website Living.Fit today.